What's going on today, guys? We have a whole bunch of stuff that we need to do. We need to do some work on the Civic and some work on the FRS. On the FRS, I'm changing the front and rear brake pads and then also possibly the oil. And on the Civic, I have two lower control arm bushings that are blown out that need to be replaced. And I'm also probably going to be pulling out all of the lower and upper control arms in the rear and greasing all of the bushings, and then doing a little tiny rear alignment on the Civic as well. Andrew's also coming over, so we're probably going to do some work on either his Integra or his hatch, whatever he brings over. I think the Integra. But keep watching and find out what goes on today. I just want to update you guys with the oil filter conclusion. So Mobile One did get back to me, or Champion Laboratories, the company that makes the filters. They got back to me and they said that the oil filter was ballooned and it must have seen over 200 pounds of pressure, 200 psi, and they said that that could be caused by a failing oil pressure regulator. If it gets stuck closed, or if there's a clogged oil passageway or anything like that, the pressure to the oil filter can build quickly, and they said that's what blew the oil filter off. They did send the oil filter back, and I did get a chance to kind of look at it, and I do kind of believe them, so we're just gonna call that a conclusion there. And ever since that happened, my oil light does come on at idle, and my engine's been knocking and all this other stuff. So I don't really think that the damage was caused by losing oil, because I wasn't driving it when it happened. I just moved it into the garage. So I think there was more going on, and I think I was just unlucky that it all happened at the same time. So I'm not going to blame Champion Laboratories for this issue. If you want to keep buying Mobile One oil filters, go ahead. It does still kind of upset me that I was bounced around so much. So I'll probably buy Mobile One oil filters, you know, if they're on sale, if they're the best deal, I'm going to keep buying them. But otherwise, I'm probably going to buy something else from now on. But yeah, let's get on with the video. So I am starting on the Civic today. We're going to get this thing up in the air. And first, we're going to pull out the lower control arms and try replacing some of those bushings and go from there.
Down to the ground, you're dragging me. It's constantly.
So here you can see the bushings ripped. Same thing on the other side. This one's ripped as well. These are just my little washer spacers because these bags fit an EG or an EK. So you need spacers if you have an EK. But believe it or not, these are actually genuine Skunk2 lower control arms. I know most of my other stuff is eBay, and these look like eBay, and I'd recommend buying eBay because these were like 220 bucks or something like that, and they don't make this style anymore. Skunk2 doesn't, at least. But so these are genuine Skunk2 bushings, and they've lasted pretty well. These are the only two that are blown out, so I bought a pack of genuine Skunk2 bushings. A pack of two is $7, I believe, which I'll put the link to where I bought them in the description. I accidentally bought 2 packs, so I paid $14, I think, for 4 bushings, which I guess that's good that I have 2 extras. So I'm pulling this off to replace these, and I'm just gonna go ahead and grease up the other bushings while I'm doing that. And I'm gonna do that on the upper control arms on both sides and this lower control arm as well. So I'm just pulling off all of these. I'm gonna try to do them one at a time. Because of this bushing right here, it's really tight and hard to bolt everything back up, so I might have to take the trailing arm out and put it together in a different order, but we'll see what happens.
I won't make a sound. I love the pain. It sets me free. It's wrong.
So these are really easy to replace bushings in. You just have to hammer out this pin, which you can just take like a 14mm socket and hammer it through. Super easy. And then you just gotta hammer the new bushings in. And we're just gonna take these ones apart too and grease them while we're at it. We got all these out now. I'm gonna go ahead and reassemble these with the new bushings. There's the new Skunk2 bushings. You can see the Skunk2 seal of approval right there. What's up, guys? It is another day, and I finished putting the new bushings in the Civic. Unfortunately, I didn't show you guys the rest of it just because Andrew came over and we had a ton of stuff to do and we just kind of had to rush through it. So I got those all done in this car. It's a huge pain in the butt. Don't upgrade your rear trailing arm bushings because it makes everything such a pain in the butt to get back together. So leave those stock if you're thinking about changing them. It's not worth it. With his car, we ended up putting the Swift springs in the front, which lowered it a whole ton. And then he got some widened steelies that we put on there. We rolled his rear fenders and got all that taken care of and then called it a day. Now it is time for me to work on the FRS. So I'm just gonna go ahead and pull the Civic out of here and get the FRS in here. I still do have to do like a rear alignment kind of thing on the Civic, which I'll show you guys probably a different day, but in this video. All right, guys, we're gonna open up the brakes I got. As you can see, I got them from Rock Auto. I will put the link to these brakes in the description. We're gonna go ahead and use my Harbor Freight scissors to open this up. All right. So as you can see, we went with the Power Stop Extreme brakes again, the Z26, same ones that I have on the Civic, just because I like the way they perform. These ones are not sponsored this time, but that goes to show that I do like these brakes. So these are front and rear brakes for the FRS. And let's see what they come with here. They do give you the clips, which is good. And then give some brake pads. And looks like they threw in some brake grease too. So that's cool. That's really cool when brake jobs give you all that kind of stuff. So, and these were relatively inexpensive. I want to say it was like $100 for front and rear together. Brake pads, which is good. All my rotors are still pretty good. I checked them out. I'm going to be keeping the stock rotors, and we're going to go ahead and get these put on. All right, I got the FRS on the lift behind me here, and the first thing that we're actually going to do before we change the brakes is change the oil.
I'm shaking now. 'Cause you say those things, then shut me out. Got no clue.
All right, so the oil change is done now. We're gonna go ahead and lift this thing up, get the wheels off, and we are going to start changing the brakes.
Me down. It's wrong, I can't make right. I love the bottom below you, said myself.
All right, so looking at this rotor, it actually looks pretty good. There's not really any lip here. Like a very small one. I don't think I need to get this one resurfaced. But what we're gonna do is pull the caliper off. To do that, there's just this bolt right here. It's 14 millimeter, and another one on the bottom. We're gonna pull that off, and we should be able to get to the brake pads underneath. These rotors actually look all right. There's like some burn marks on them. I'm not really sure what that's all about, but you can't feel them if you touch the rotor. So I'm just going to go ahead and run these with the new pads, and hopefully I don't regret it, but I think it's going to be all right. I'm just going to pull these out now and put new brake grease on these, and then put the new slider clips in for the brake pads, and then put the new brake pads on and put the caliper back on. All right, we got the fronts done on both sides. Kind of a pain in the butt, not too bad. The slide pins on the bottom have these little rubber sleeves on them. That makes it really hard to put the slide pin back in. And then also the new caliper is a really tight fit. Or not the new caliper, but the caliper after you put the brakes in. Obviously, you have to push the pistons in with the C-clamp, which I have done. But still a tight fit. Got them on. Other side's good too. Now we're moving on to the back here, and we're going to get the back taken care of. Now, these shouldn't have the spin style rear caliper because they have brake shoes in the rear that handle the e-brake. So make sure that if you're changing the rotor, you do undo the e-brake so that it's not, you know, locked and that you can spin this freely. So yeah, there's brake shoes in here, kind of like a brake drum that works the e-brake. This should just be a standalone caliper, just like the front. and should press in really easily with a C-clamp. Alright, so as you can see, this one has a gouge in it, and I had some squeaking for a little bit, so I think that might have been like a little rock or something that was in there. But I mean, as you can see, there's some good pad left. I mean, it's getting low, but there's definitely still pad left, so I think that must have been a rock or something. But I'm gonna have this rotor turned, so I do have to pull this one off. To do that, you have to take off this caliper bracket, which there's a bolt right there, and then another one down there, and then this should come off, and then this is supposed to just pull off. They're usually stuck though. Because they're stuck, they have these 2 threaded holes on them. They're M8 by 1.25, I think. I could be completely wrong, so don't quote me on that. But you just thread a couple bolts in there and it'll pull the rotor off as you run them in. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this rotor off and get it turned, and I will show you the finished product. Alright, so I just got back from getting this turned, and that's what it looks like. Pretty much brand new. You can still kind of see the gouge there, but not really. The back end looks really good too. The cool thing is that pad was actually wearing weird because of that gouge. I don't want that to happen to the new one. So it's good that they were able to do it. But I'm going to go ahead and get this mounted. I'm not really going to show you the process of putting this all back together because I just want to get done really quick. And I will show you guys the alignment thing on the Civic tomorrow or another day. Alright, so we did not get to aligning the Civic. That's actually going to be it for this video, but kind of a surprise. I didn't end up aligning the Civic because I just started pulling the motor out of it. So you'll get a video on that soon. There's one more video before that, but you will get a video on pulling the motor in the Civic soon because we are going to be building it. Make sure that if you want to see that, you subscribe and give it a thumbs up too if you like the video. Thanks for watching. Peace.